Hello! This video is going to walk through the various ways that we are able to communicate with our students and guardians using Genius. And it's also going to look at a few other things that we think you might find useful. So the first thing we're going to look at is the Students tab. From the Students tab, you can select any one of your students by clicking on his or her name. So I'm going to select my sample student right here. And that brings me to my sample student's basic information page. On the basic information page, the first thing we want to look and see is if they have a guardian email in their basic information block. And this particular student does. So I'll explain why that's important here in just a little bit. But pay attention to that, whether or not they have a guardian email there in that basic information block. And then also you can click on Guardian Accounts over here. If we click on Guardian Accounts, we can see that this student has two different guardians with all of their information attached. And this is where I can explain the difference. If a student has a guardian with a guardian account, that student's parents have a username and a login into Genius similar to us or the students or our site coordinators and so on. That means that this parent in a different area in Genius over in the Messages tab, you can communicate specifically in Genius with that guardian if that guardian has a guardian account. If there are no guardians listed under the guardian account, but there is guardian information in the basic information page, you can still get communications to guardians, but it will go to their external email. So for instance, their Gmail account or their Outlook account. They will not see that message inside Genius because they don't have a Genius user account. So moving on, we've checked to see if this student has a guardian account. The student does, and we see the guardian information in the basic information block. Now, moving down through these blocks, you can view the communication with this student by clicking View Communications, and that is actually going to show you every communication that has ever come to this student. So you can see it's all just from admin, but this will also show you communications that the student has had with other instructors, any progress reports that have been sent out by the admin team, and so on. To view those communications, you are going to click on the little pencil and paper icon, and then you can read what has been sent to the student. So that's pretty handy. And then you can also add a communication. So if you have a Zoom call with a student, you would list that as an in-person meeting and just briefly type a description of what that particular session was about. You can see that there are several different options for what type of meeting you had with that student. We encourage you to go ahead and log those communications inside Genius so that if there ever is a moment for a hard conversation, a student is failing, and we need to go back through communications and prove that, you, the instructor, was definitely in communication with the student, and so on, we'll have a log of that. So that those two areas are super handy, and we encourage you to keep looking at those. And then all the way at the bottom here, we can see under Actions, we can send an email to this student. So if we click Send Email, we're going to be brought to this page. We can add files. The templates in the Student tab are different than the Enrollments tab. You'll notice that right away if you've been working a lot in Enrollments and using the templates. So we do have some, they're just not as robust, I would say, as Enrollments, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. This here, this CC email, is where you can take that email from the Guardian email basic information page. You could copy and paste that email down here in CC email, and this message would then get sent to the student inside Genius and the outside email. But the better way to do it is just to click Copy Guardian right here. If you click Copy Guardian right here, as long as there's information about a guardian in the basic information area, this message will get sent to the student inside Genius. It'll get sent to the student outside of Genius to his or her external email, and it will also get sent to the guardian's external email, Gmail, Outlook, or otherwise. You do have variables, just like you do in enrollments. There are fewer of them, but they are available. And you can update your sample to check it out. Let's see what it looks like before you actually click send. So this is just one way that you can email, I should say message students inside Genius. But to be honest, I think the next tab is where you will find more tools and a better way to message your students, even if it's just a single student. So we're going to come over into the Enrollments tab now. And I'm going to just click Get Data, and that's going to give me all the enrollments I have so far. And you can see my test student is right here. So I can just click that singular student's name and go to emails, and I'm only emailing that one student. Or let's say I have a couple of students that I want to select and send the message to. I can checkbox multiple students and then click enrollments. And don't forget about your filters, so you can filter down and then checkbox all, or simply checkbox all if you want to, depending on your purposes. So for right now, I'm only going to checkbox my sample student here, and I'm going to click emails, and we're going to look at this enrollments area of messaging in Genius. The templates that are available to you in enrollments seem to be, for me, from a teacher perspective, the most useful. We've got our progress report. This is where I put all of my templates, so I don't have to type them over and over again every year. My welcome message, summer login reminder, and so forth. So always check out the templates and create your own if you want to. Same thing, you can add a subject, you have to add a subject line, I should say. You can still add attachments from this area. And you'll notice that we have the Copy Guardian box right here as well. So again, if the student has guardian information in the basic information page, by clicking Copy Guardian, that message is going to go to two places for the student, Genius and external email, and a copy will be sent externally to the guardian as well. These checkboxes here, these are not going to be useful to you very often. So I wouldn't spend too much time trying to figure out what these are or how you should use them. If you have one student in multiple courses, so for instance, I typically have a student who will take, Gothic literature and Lord of the Rings at the same time. If you click this send one email per student, they won't get two emails with whatever you're sending out. They will only get one email with that information in a singular way. So that's kind of a handy box. It's not very often that we have a student, dual enrolled with a single instructor, but sometimes it happens. So that box does work and you can use it. So I think because of the templates and because the variables are a lot more robust, we have grade, we have assignments left, weeks left, all of that in here. I really think your most powerful way to message is going to be right here in the Enrollments tab. But there's one more area that you can message from, and I literally never use it, but I'm going to go ahead and show it to you so you can understand it a little bit better. If you click on Messages, you can see that you can compose a message from here. So if I click Compose and I start typing my student's name, he is going to come up for me, and I can click his name. Going back to an actual guardian account, a guardian who has a username and password, you'll notice that in this area, those folks will pop up and you can select them. But you would have to make sure that they had that actual guardian account to be able to find that guardian in this area. You'll notice this box is always checked. Don't uncheck it. This is how we get a copy sent to those external emails, subject line, and body of the message. But you'll notice in this area, there's really no good way there's literally no way to send an attachment. And you don't get all of the variables and the templates and all of that magic either. And so although this exists and is a way to message students, I would encourage you guys to use the Enrollments tab, checkbox the student you're wanting to message, and then go to emails. And then always copy Guardian. Always, always copy Guardian. Because even if they don't have information in that basic information page, nothing bad will happen. So just make a habit of copying the Guardian by clicking that box. So I think that covers all the different areas inside Genius that you can message your students from. And I hope this video was super helpful. And if you need me, you know how to find me.